Welcome to another Todd's
2-Minute Tech Tip Tuesday.
brought to you by the National RV Training Academy, the largest hands-on RV training academy in America. Hey, before we get to the video, which I know this is the reason why you're here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. That way you don't miss anything. Hit the subscribe button now. Thank you. Now, back to our Tech Tip Tuesday. Hey everybody, it is Tech Tip time, and I actually got two tech tips I want to go ahead and cover. So, the first one, I want to go ahead and talk about it. Now, this has to do with the gray tank smells. This is Earl Ballantyne. He didn't start off the way he should have, where he says, hey, great videos, thanks for your free advice. But at least the topic was good enough. So maybe next time, Earl, you could do that. We have an ongoing issue. Every time my wife runs the kitchen sink water faucet, the foul odor comes from the gray tank going up either through the sink drain or under the sink where the pipes are. I'm already knowing where this is going, okay? There's no valve to keep the smell out of the sink area. I have no clue what you're talking about there, but I get it. There's no valve. The piping girds into the wall, out the vents on the back of the trailer. Get that? The label says, do not leave your gray tank dumping valve open or gases will come into the kitchen area. Totally true. You should never keep that open. Our dump valves are closed, and we don't even have the stinky slinky hose connected. There's always plenty of water in the sink trap, which I'm sure you think about your P-trap there, yep, which is supposed to stop the gases from coming in. I've taken the outside vent cover off, and it's just an open pipe to vent, no valve, any kind there. So let me go ahead and tell you what's going on. You really put your finger on it whenever you said it's even under where the pipes are. Now, in your house, right, every single time you have a waste drain vent, there's going to be what's called a vent stack. Now, I need you to understand this. When you put water into the pipe, right, that water has to go somewhere. And once that water finally gets out of the pipe, what must come in? Air. Because otherwise, that water really isn't going to go anywhere. It's going to gird. Just go. Well, in the RV, we only have one vent stack. One! Okay? And that's typically adjacent to one of the main bathroom wall, right? Just got one vent stack. But what we do is we put in what's called an air admittance valve, and that's typically under the cabinets, in the kitchen area, bathroom sink area, whatnot. An air admittance valve. It's an air type check valve, okay? Negative pressure pulls that little valve down, and air can actually go in when water is vacating out. The problem is these air admittance valves are kind of weak, and they go out. And so just think of it. You just got a little plastic cap. Look up under your sink, and you're going to look under there, and you're going to see what looks like a little cap, right? It's going to be a little bit wider than the 1.25 inch waste drain pipe. It's just going to be a pipe sticking up a couple inches above your P-trap off to the side, right? That little valve right there is just a check valve. Spring gets loose or whatnot, and it's just not closing all the way. It's not closing all the way. So when it stays open and you begin to vacate that water, you're going to get the smells in from the gray tank. Now, a couple things. You can simply change that with no tools. It's called an air admittance valve. Sometimes we name that like a Studer valve. It's kind of like saying Q-tip when you're talking about your ear swabs or whatever you call those things. Studer valve, air admittance valve. You got to get the right size. Now, in order to test that, a simple way to verify whether that's it or not without you taking it off and running to the store is put a sandwich baggie over it, tape it up, walk away, and see if the smell dissipates, right? Turn on the water. If the water kind of flows, it's going to flow a little bit because you got no air admittance valve. But if no stink comes back, then that lets you know that that air admittance valve is out. So you can just simply replace that. 10, 15 bucks. Okay? No tools. Just use your hands. But those get weak and those go out. And that's a substitute. It's a secondary vent stack, right? It allows the one vent stack, allows the air to go into the gray tank. That's what's probably going on. Because if your P-trap's totally full, there's only one other place that smell can come up, and that's going to be in the gray tank. I'd also suggest, since you have that terrible odor, maybe it's time to go ahead and clean out your gray tank. You know, put in some bacteria. Oh, by the way, just happen to have it right here. Here's one. It's called liquefied. Now, what this is just it's a bacteria or enzyme type product here that you actually pour into your gray tank, fill up the gray tank, and let the enzymes and the bacteria do their job. Go ahead and get rid of some of that foul odor. All right. enough of that. All right, there was a second question. All right, our RV is our RV is barely 3 years old. Okay, and we still have the exact tank, which is completely shot. I'm not sure which tank we're talking about, but let's keep going. So it's a 3-year-old RV, exact same stuff. Okay. Even with replacing the anode rod. Now, when it said the anode rod, okay, now we're talking about the Suburban water heater, all right? Even with replacing the anode rod, every single component of this is corroded, and it's not like we don't take care of the RV. In fact, our RV looks better than the newer ones on the lot because we're OCD about keeping it maintained and cleaned, comma. There's just no way with this water heater, comma, maybe it's our well water, IDK, but even the external housing components, which don't contact our well, are deeply corroded and rusted. Ooh, you're putting your finger right on the problem. All right, now we're 700 miles away from home. It's a lengthy trip, and it won't ignite. Oh, boy, okay? That's even worse. What's even worse is we're hours from any camping place, and Amazon parts and shipping will take a week. That's a long time without a shower. You know what? I agree. That's a long time without a shower. But there's a lot of off-gridders, off people that live off-grid, that will take a month before they take showers, and they take like 1 gallon of water, and they wash themselves. I'm with you. A week is maybe too long. Okay? But can I tell you, to the off-gridder, they don't really mess with that. That's not your question. Let's go ahead and answer this. Here's the thing. You said your rig is barely 3 years old. Okay, one, that's pretty good. For them, the last 3 years old and still looks brand new. I love the way, you take care of it. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter how well you clean the outside. Here's what's going on with that water heater. It's the substance going in it. Now, you said it's on a well, and I bet you anything, you got heavy minerals. Okay, you got heavy minerals going in there. Now, inside that Suburban tank, you've got a metal structure, but you also are inserting an anode rod, your heating element in there. And so what happens is those become susceptible to corrosion because of all the minerals that are going inside. Okay, and because of the minerals, now the anode rod should be taking care of it. Now, if you're saying that you're meticulous, I would say, how often are you changing that anode rod? The anode rod is there to be the sacrifice. It should be taking the hit first. Now, if you're only replacing it once a year, let's say because you're in an area where you have your own well, I don't know if you've tested it or whatnot, but I bet you know that there are minerals showing up. Well, those minerals begin to actually get on all the components. And you're right, you're changing it out. You're changing out that anode rod, but if the minerals are sitting on the heating element, and if the minerals are sitting on the inside of the tank and everything else, yes, it's going to be difficult, okay? So a couple things that you can do. One, you can change out your anode rod more frequently, which means you got to check it more frequently. And I'm going to tell you, check it at least twice a year. You may even need to do it a little bit more. Number two is get yourself a water softener. Okay, if this is gonna, and it sounds like based on the what you said there, it stays there and you have it connected to the well. If that's the case, heavy minerals, get yourself a water softener to try and take some of that out. Otherwise, you're feeding those minerals and that water straight into the holding tank, okay, of the water heater. Yeah, and those minerals are going to show up there. And honestly, that's the case for every RVer. As we travel, we go to different municipalities. There's different levels of minerals in the water at that municipality. They all end up there. So, yeah, you got to check it more frequently than you would, say, your anode rod and your water heater at your house. Way more frequent, okay? And unfortunately for some of us, even more frequently if we're in a municipality that has hard water. Water softener would help out, and then, once we get past the minerals, if you want to do a filter, it's totally fine. That will help out, but also check that. One more thing, I did a video on how to clean out your water heater. And you may want to do this twice a year as well. And that is, of course, putting in vinegar in different intervals, right? Vinegar into the water heater, right? I go through a whole list on how to do that, but you want vinegar in there to eat up all those minerals, and that will help prolong the life of your water heater. There you go. Hey, thanks for the questions and everything else. It gives me stuff that I can answer here. I can't promise I can do it every single week because, of course, there's other things that I just walk in and say, hey, why don't we talk about this, right? It may not be a question, but bring them in. I'll be more than happy to help out. There's your tech tip. All right, before you get to the bloopers, which is why you're here in the first place, the RV industry needs thousands of RV technicians and inspectors, and now is the perfect time to do that. If you want to make more money or have more control over your time, go ahead and click the link below. Or if you just want to learn how to fix your own RV, got something for you there. Head over to rvtechcourse.com and get started today. Now for the reason that you're at the end of the video, roll the bloopers. So what you do, I don't even know what I said there. All right, our RV is, and that person, that hairstylist is working for the tip, so they're sitting there flirting with you. Oh, you know, you got the most beautiful hair, yada, yada, yada. Can I touch your beard? And you're like, you're in it for the tip. I'm going to answer this, but I'm not happy because you didn't start off with great video.